My twin sons came home saying their rich classmate looks exactly like them. I knew immediately their father was my millionaire CEO ex. Zoraide stood in the marble lobby of the private academy, her hands trembling as Caspian Vane emerged from the shadows of his past and back into her life. His voice was steady, but his eyes were wild. You kept them from me. 12 years, Zoraide. 12 years. She stepped closer, her whisper cutting through the space between them like broken glass. You want to talk about what was taken? You told me you weren't ready to be a father. You said your empire mattered more than playing house. So I left, and I built a life where my sons would never wait for a man who might never show up. Caspian's jaw tightened. Our sons. She felt the word hit her chest. Our sons deserve better than this war we are about to fight. Zoraide Vance had always believed that broken things held the most beauty. That is what made her exceptional at her craft. As a restoration architect, she spent her days breathing life back into Harlem's forgotten brownstones, tracing the stories etched into cracked plaster and worn floorboards. She understood that some fractures could be mended, others simply had to be lived with. Her own heart fell into the latter category. 12 years ago, she had loved a man with the kind of intensity that rewrites your DNA. Caspian Vane had been her summer of glass. Beautiful, fragile, destined to shatter. When she discovered she was pregnant with twins, she had gone to him with hope trembling in her hands and terror pooling in her stomach. She still remembered the way his face had drained of color, the way he had stepped back from her as if she had announced a terminal diagnosis rather than new life. I am building something that could change the world, Zoraide. I cannot do that with the weight of a family I am not ready for. Those words had carved themselves into her bones. So she had left. No forwarding address, no final conversation. Just a silent exit from the life of a man who had chosen his empire over her and the children growing inside her. She had poured everything into Keziah and Maceo. Her twin sons were now 12 years old, brilliant and vibrant, with their father's sharp intellect and her creative soul. They attended the prestigious Harlem Academy of Sciences on full scholarships, a fact that filled her with fierce pride. They were hers, wholly and completely, and she had spent over a decade ensuring they never felt the absence of a man who did not want them. That carefully constructed world began to crack on a Tuesday afternoon in early October. The twins burst through the door of their brownstone with the chaotic energy of boys who had discovered something extraordinary. Keziah spoke first, his words tumbling over each other. Mom, you are not going to believe this. There is a new kid at school. Maceo jumped in, his eyes wide. He looks exactly like us. Like exactly. I thought someone was playing a prank with mirrors or something. Zoraide's hands stilled over the architectural plans spread across her kitchen table. She looked up at her sons, studying the excitement in their faces, and felt the first whisper of dread. What do you mean exactly like you? Keziah pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen. His name is Sterling Vane. He just transferred from some private school in Manhattan. Mom, I am serious. It is like looking at our reflection. He turned the screen toward her. The world tilted. The boy in the photograph had Keziah's high cheekbones, Maceo's intense gaze. The same light skin, the same distinctive widow's peak. But what made Zoraide's breath catch was not the resemblance to her sons. It was the resemblance to the man who had walked away from all of them. Sterling Vane was Caspian's son, which meant Caspian had moved on, had built the family he wanted on his own timeline. And somehow, impossibly, their worlds were colliding. If you are already hooked by this story, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you do not want to miss where this is going. Maceo leaned over her shoulder, studying her face with the unsettling perceptiveness he had inherited from her. Mom, you look weird. Do you know this kid or something? She forced her voice to remain steady. What makes you think I would know him? Keziah shrugged. I don't know. You just got really quiet. And you never get quiet. Zoraide set down her pencil and pulled both boys close, breathing in the familiar scent of their hair. Tell me about him. What is he like? The twins exchanged a glance, that wordless communication that had always existed between them. He is kind of quiet, Maceo offered, but smart, like really smart. We have advanced robotics together, and he built this insane circuit board in like 15 minutes. Keziah nodded, and he kept staring at us during lunch. Not in a creepy way, more like he was trying to figure out a puzzle. That night, after the boys had gone to bed, Zoraide sat in her studio surrounded by blueprints and coffee cups, her mind racing. She pulled up her laptop and typed a name she had not searched in over a decade. Caspian Vane. The results flooded her screen. He had become everything he said he would. Tech was now a multi-billion-dollar empire specializing in sustainable technology and artificial intelligence. His face appeared in articles from Forbes, TechCrunch, The Wall Street Journal. He looked older, sharper. The softness she had once loved had been honed into something sleek and untouchable. She found what she was looking for in a Society Page article from 3 years ago. Caspian Vane and wife Simone announce amicable separation. The tech mogul and the fashion executive have one son, Sterling, age 9. Her heart was hammering. So Caspian had gotten married, had a child, had built the life he wanted once he was ready. The bitterness that rose in her throat tasted like old wounds. She closed the laptop and walked to the twins' room, standing in the doorway and watching them sleep. Keziah had kicked off his covers, sprawled across the bed in unconscious abandon. Maceo slept curled tight, even in rest more guarded. They were everything to her, and she would do anything to protect them from the man who had not wanted them. The next morning, Zoraide made a decision. She would go to the school. She would see this Sterling Vane for herself. And if necessary, she would burn down the world to keep Caspian away from her sons. The Harlem Academy of Sciences occupied a restored historic building on 127th Street, all red brick and arched windows. Zoraide had actually consulted on part of the restoration 5 years ago, which gave her an excuse to visit. She signed in at the front desk, claiming she needed to check on some structural elements in the East Wing. The attendant waved her through without question. She knew the twins had robotics in the makerspace during 4th period. She made her way there, her heels clicking against the polished floors, her heart beating a rhythm of dread and inevitability. The makerspace had glass walls, allowing her to observe without entering. She spotted Keziah and Maceo immediately, bent over a complex system of wires and motors. And between them, working with the same focused intensity, was a boy who could have been their triplet. Sterling Vane had the same build, the same gestures, the same way of tilting his head when concentrating. It was like looking at an alternate timeline. Her hand pressed against the glass. Behind her, a voice spoke. A voice that had once whispered promises against her skin in the dark. A voice she had tried to forget. He looks like them. Zoraide turned slowly. Caspian Vane stood 3 feet away, dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her monthly mortgage. His hair was cut shorter than she remembered, silver threaded through the black at his temples. But his eyes were the same, deep brown and unreadable. "Hello, Caspian." Her voice came out steadier than she felt. He stepped closer, his gaze moving from the boys beyond the glass back to her face. When Sterling came home talking about twins who looked exactly like him, I thought it was childhood exaggeration. Then I saw the school directory photo. He paused. "You disappeared, Zoraide. 12 years ago, you vanished like smoke." She lifted her chin. "I left. There is a difference." "Why?" The question hung between them, heavy with everything unasked. "Because you made it clear where your priorities were." She kept her voice low, conscious of the students and teachers moving through the hallway. "You told me you were not ready to be a father, that you needed to focus on building your company. So I gave you exactly what you wanted. Freedom." His face shifted, something cracking through the composed exterior. "I had a right to know. You were pregnant with my children, and you did not tell me." She laughed, a bitter sound. "You had already made your choice. I was not going to spend my pregnancy begging you to care. I was not going to raise my sons watching them hope for a father who might show up when it was convenient." Behind them, the bell rang. Students began pouring into the hallway. Caspian caught her arm, his touch electric even after all these years. "We are not done with this conversation. Meet me tonight, 7 o'clock. The address of my office. I will send a car." She pulled her arm free. "I do not need your car, and I do not take orders from you. But if you want to talk, I will be there. For them." She gestured toward the glass where the 3 boys were now packing up their materials, laughing about something. "Not for you." That evening, Zoraide told the twins she had a late meeting with a client. Her neighbor, Mrs. Tina, agreed to keep an eye on them. She dressed carefully, choosing a sleek black dress and the leather jacket she had designed herself, stitched with geometric patterns. If she was walking into Caspian's world, she would do it on her own terms. The Vane Tech building occupied a full block in Midtown, a soaring structure of glass and steel that seemed to touch the clouds. She gave her name at the security desk and was immediately escorted to a private elevator that opened directly into a penthouse office. The space was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, the lights of Manhattan spreading out like scattered diamonds. The furniture was minimalist and expensive, and standing by the windows, silhouetted against the skyline, was Caspian. He turned as she entered. I was not sure you would come. She stayed near the elevator. Say what you need to say. I have children to get home to. He flinched at the emphasis. That is what I want to talk about. Zoraide, those boys are my sons too. Biologically, she corrected. You have contributed nothing else. That is not fair. Life is not fair, Caspian. Fair would have been you being ready when I needed you. Fair would have been my sons knowing their father. She walked further into the room, her anger giving her courage. You do not get to show up now and claim something you walked away from. I did not know they existed. He moved toward her, his voice rising. You made that choice for me. You decided I did not deserve to be a father. I decided to protect my children from rejection. There is a difference. She stood her ground as he approached. You looked me in the eyes and told me your company was more important than starting a family. What did you expect me to do? Stick around and hope you changed your mind? Watch my babies grow up wondering why their father could not love them? Her voice cracked. I love them enough for two parents, and I will not apologize for that. Caspian stopped inches from her. The air between them was charged with 12 years of unspoken pain. I was 26 years old, Zoraide. I was terrified. I had investors breathing down my neck and a company that was barely surviving. Yes, I said I was not ready, but I never said I did not want you. I never said I would not try. You did not have to say it. She met his eyes. I saw it in your face. The panic, the calculation. You were doing math in your head about how a baby would disrupt your 5-year plan. I was not going to be your disruption. He reached for her hand. She let him take it, hating how familiar it still felt. If I could go back, I would do everything differently. But I cannot. All I can do is move forward. And I am asking you, please let me know my sons. Our sons. The correction came automatically. She pulled her hand back. This is not simple, Caspian. They do not know about you. They think their father was someone who left before they were born. Someone who does not matter. I matter. His voice was fierce. I have missed 12 years. Do not ask me to miss any more. Before you go anywhere, drop a comment below. Tell me, do you think Zoraide should tell the boys the truth? Or is she right to protect them? I want to hear your thoughts. Zoraide turned away from him, looking out at the city lights. What about Sterling? Does he know about them? Not yet. Caspian moved to stand beside her, careful not to touch. His mother and I separated 3 years ago. It was amicable. We co-parent well. But this is going to be complicated for him too. Finding out he has twin brothers. She glanced at him. Why did you and his mother separate? He was quiet for a long moment. Because I never stopped thinking about you. Because I built everything I said I would, and it all felt empty. Because she deserved someone who could love her completely, and I could not be that person. The honesty in his voice made her chest ache. That is not my problem to solve. I know, but it is context. He turned to face her fully. I want a DNA test, and I want legal acknowledgement. And I want to be part of their lives. The corporate tone grated against her nerves. You want. What about what they want? What about what I want? Then tell me, what do you want? She thought about the question. The real answer was complicated and messy, and involved time travel. I want my sons to grow up whole. I want them to know their worth is not determined by who claims them. I want them to be safe from people who see them as extensions of a brand or a legacy. She met his eyes. Can you give me that? Or will you just teach them that love is conditional and people leave when things get hard? That landed. She saw it in the way his shoulders tensed. You really think that little of me? I think you have proven who you are. She kept her voice soft, which somehow made it cut deeper. But I also think people can change. So here is what is going to happen. You want to be in their lives? You earn it. You show up and be consistent. And you let them set the pace. They do not need a father who swoops in with expensive gifts and big promises. They need someone real. I can do that. She studied him, looking for the boy she had loved beneath the billionaire exterior. We will see. Start with the DNA test if you need that proof. Then we will figure out how to tell them. Together. The DNA test came back 3 days later with exactly the results they both knew it would confirm. Keziah and Maceo Vance were Caspian Vane's biological sons. Zoraide stared at the legal document in her kitchen, the official letterhead making everything suddenly more real. She had lived for 12 years as the sole architect of her sons' lives. Now she had to share that blueprint with the man who had broken her. That Saturday, she sat the twins down in their living room. Maceo immediately sensed something serious. His shoulders tensed. Are we in trouble? No, baby. She reached for both their hands. But we need to have an important conversation. About what? Keziah's brow furrowed. About your father. The words seemed to suck the air from the room. The twins exchanged one of their wordless glances. Maceo spoke first. You said he left before we were born, that he was not part of our lives. That was true, but it was not the whole truth. She took a breath, choosing her words carefully. Your father's name is Caspian Vane. The recognition was immediate. Both boys' eyes went wide. Keziah found his voice first. Sterling's dad? Zoraide nodded. When I found out I was pregnant with you both, your father and I were very young. He had just started his company, and he told me he was not ready to be a parent. So I made the decision to raise you on my own. I did not bother to wait, because I did not want you growing up feeling unwanted. Maceo's voice was small, so he did not know about us. Not until this week. Not until he saw you at school and realized Sterling had twin brothers. The silence stretched. Then Keziah stood up, his face flushed. So he has a son he wanted, Sterling. But he did not want us. That is why you left. Zoraide reached for him, but he stepped back. Keziah, it was not that simple. Sounds pretty simple. Maceo's voice was tight. He got to be Sterling's dad. He chose that. He did not choose us. Both of you, listen to me. She stood, moving to where they could see her face. Your father was scared and young, and he made a choice he regrets. He wants to know you now. He wants to be part of your lives if you will let him. Why should we? Keziah's question was sharp. We have been fine without him. You have. She agreed. You have been more than fine. You have been extraordinary. But that does not mean you might not want a relationship with him now. That does not mean he does not deserve a chance to try. Maceo looked up at her, his eyes too old for his 12 years. Do you want him in our lives? I want you to have every opportunity to know where you come from. I want you to make your own choices about relationships. She knelt down to their level. And I want you to know that no matter what you decide about your father, my love for you does not change. You are mine. Always. Keziah's anger cracked. His eyes filled with tears. What if we meet him and he leaves again? What if we are not enough? Then that is his failure, not yours. She pulled both boys into her arms. But you will never know unless you try. And I will be right here, no matter what happens. 2 days later, Zoraide arranged for the boys to meet Caspian in a neutral space. She chose Riverside Park, a place with open sky and water, where no one could feel trapped. She and Caspian arrived early, standing awkwardly by the agreed-upon bench. He looked nervous. She had never seen Caspian Vane nervous. How do I do this? He asked. What do I say to them? You be honest. She kept her eyes on the path where the boys would appear. You do not make promises you cannot keep. And you let them lead. What if they hate me? Then you earn your way back. She finally looked at him. The way you are going to have to earn your way back with me. Before he could respond, she saw them. Keziah and Maceo walking up the path with Mrs. Tina, who would wait at a distance. They looked small and brave and terrified. Zoraide's heart clenched. Caspian saw them and went still. Oh God, they looked just like my father. The boys reached them. Mrs. Tina gave Zoraide a reassuring nod and moved to a bench 50 feet away. The twins stood side by side, a united front. Caspian cleared his throat. Keziah, Maceo, I am your father. I know that is strange to hear. It is strange to say. Maceo's voice was cautious. You look like Sterling. Caspian nodded. Sterling looks like me. Like all of you. You have the vein bone structure. The pause was awkward. Then Keziah spoke. Mom said you were not ready to be a dad when we were born. That was true. Caspian's voice was steady. I was 26. I had a company that was failing. I was terrified of everything. When your mother told me she was pregnant, I panicked. I said things I deeply regret. I told her I could not handle being a father. So she left, and she raised you without me because she loved you enough to protect you from my fear. The honesty seemed to surprise the boys. Maceo shifted his weight. Do you regret us? Or just regret missing us? Caspian looked at Zoraide as if asking permission. She nodded slightly. I regret that I was too scared to see what a gift you were. I regret that I let your mother walk away. I regret every single moment I was not in your lives. But I do not regret you. You are my sons. And if you give me the chance, I would like to try to be your father. Even though we are 12? Keziah challenged. Especially because you are 12. Caspian attempted a smile. You are old enough to call me on my mistakes. Old enough to decide what you want this relationship to look like. The four of them sat on the bench. Zoraide stayed quiet, letting them find their rhythm. Maceo asked the first real question. What is Sterling like? Caspian's face softened. He is brilliant. Quieter than you two seem to be. He loves puzzles and coding. He is kind. Sometimes too serious. His mother and I have been divorced for 3 years, but we have worked hard to make sure he feels secure. Does he know about us? Keziah asked. I told him yesterday. Caspian admitted. He is processing. I think he is excited but also scared. His whole identity just shifted. Like ours, Maceo said quietly. Exactly like yours. Caspian agreed. The conversation slowly unfolded. Careful, tentative. The boys asked about Vane Tech, about what Caspian did all day, about whether he knew how to code. Caspian asked about their interests, their favorite subjects, what they wanted to be when they grew up. Zoraide watched the three of them and felt something shift in her chest. A door she had welded shut beginning to crack open. When Mrs. Tina signaled it was time to go, the twins stood. Keziah looked at Caspian directly. Can we do this again? I would really like that. Caspian's voice was rough with emotion. Maceo hesitated, then asked, Can we meet Sterling? Properly? I think that can be arranged. Caspian glanced at Zoraide. If your mother agrees. She nodded. We will figure it out. The boys walked back to Mrs. Tina. Halfway there, Keziah turned and called back. You have a lot to prove, you know. I know. Caspian called back. I am ready to try. After they left, Zoraide and Caspian sat in silence for a long moment. Thank you, he finally said, for giving me this chance. I am not doing it for you. She stood, slinging her purse over her shoulder. I am doing it for them. But Caspian, if you hurt them, if you disappoint them, if you make them feel like they are not enough, I will make sure you regret it in ways you cannot imagine. I believe you. He stood as well. And for what it is worth, I am sorry. For all of it. She looked at him. This man who had been her first love and her deepest wound. Sorry is just a word. Show me with actions. Then maybe, eventually, it will mean something. The meeting between the three boys happened 2 weeks later. Caspian suggested his penthouse apartment, but Zoraide vetoed that immediately. Too much wealth. Too much intimidation. Instead, they chose the Museum of Natural History. Neutral ground. Lots to look at if the conversation got awkward. Sterling arrived with Caspian. The boy was quieter than the twins, more reserved. He had his mother's elegance and his father's intensity. When he saw Keziah and Maceo, he stopped walking. The three boys stared at each other like mirrors in a fun house. This is so weird, Sterling finally said. Keziah grinned. Right? It is like we are glitching the matrix or something. Maceo stepped forward first, extending his hand. I am Maceo. This is Keziah. We are your brothers. Apparently, Sterling shook his hand, a small smile breaking through his serious expression. I know. I have been doing research. You go to Harlem Academy. You are both in the advanced STEM track. Keziah is better at robotics. Maceo is better at theoretical mathematics. Maceo raised his eyebrows. You researched us? Sterling shrugged. I research everything. It is kind of my thing. The ice broken, the boys started walking through the museum. Caspian and Zoraide followed at a distance, giving them space but staying close enough to intervene if needed. They are handling this better than I expected, Caspian observed. They are resilient. Zoraide kept her eyes on her sons. They have had to be. They passed the dinosaur exhibits, the boys' conversation growing more animated. At one point, all three of them started talking over each other about AI and machine learning, their voices rising with excitement. Caspian laughed softly. There is no question they are related. Zoraide felt a pang of something complicated. Loss maybe, or the recognition that her son's world was expanding beyond the tight circle she had built. Sterling's voice drifted back to them. So do you guys hate our dad? Or is it weird? The question was so direct it made both adults freeze. Keziah answered, I do not know yet. He seems like he is trying. But 12 years is a long time to miss. Maceo added, Mom says people deserve chances to change. So I guess we will see if he means it. Sterling nodded seriously. He is a good dad to me. But I know that does not mean anything to you guys. You have to figure out your own thing with him. The maturity of the conversation made Zoraide's throat tight. At the Hall of Gems, the boys discovered they all had the same favorite stone. Meteorite samples, rock from space. Sterling explained the chemical composition. Keziah talked about the impact trajectories. Maceo calculated the odds of being hit by one. By the time they reached the planetarium, they were finishing each other's sentences. Zoraide and Caspian sat in the darkened theater, the boys 3 rows ahead, their heads together as they watched stars wheel across the dome. This is my fault, Caspian whispered. They should have grown up together. Yes, Zoraide did not soften it. They should have, but you do not get to wallow in guilt. You get to do better now. He turned to look at her in the dim light. I want to do better with them. He paused. And with you. There is no with you and me. She kept her voice low. There is co-parenting. There is being civil for our children. That is all. Is it? The question was soft, but it landed hard. Because I look at you, and I still see the woman I fell in love with. The woman I was too stupid and scared to fight for. Do not do this. She stood abruptly. The boys glanced back and she waved that everything was fine. She moved toward the exit. Caspian followed. In the hallway outside the planetarium, she turned on him. You do not get to rewrite history with romantic speeches. You made a choice. I lived with the consequences. End of story. What if I want a different ending? Then you are 12 years too late. Her voice cracked despite her best effort. I built a life, Caspian. I built myself into someone who does not need you. You cannot just walk back in and expect me to crumble. I do not want you to crumble. He stepped closer. I want you to let me prove I am not the same man who let you walk away. People do not change that much. They do if they lose everything that matters. His intensity was overwhelming. I have spent 12 years building an empire I do not care about. I married a woman I could not fully love because she was not you. I have everything the world says should make me happy, and I am empty. That sounds like a you problem. But her voice shook. It is. He agreed. And I am not asking you to fix it. I am just asking you not to shut the door completely. For them if not for me. Before Zoraide could respond, the boys emerged from the planetarium. Mom, can Sterling come over for dinner sometime? Maceo asked. The three of them looked at her with matching hopeful expressions. It was impossible to say no. Of course. She managed to smile. We will set it up. The boys exchanged triumphant looks. That evening, after dropping Sterling and Caspian at Caspian's car, Zoraide drove her sons home through the city streets. The twins were unusually quiet. Finally, Keziah spoke from the back seat. Sterling is cool. He is. Zoraide agreed. Do you think we will get to know him better? Maceo asked. I think you will have the chance to. If that is what you want. Another pause. Then Keziah's question came, quiet and vulnerable. Mom, if our dad wanted us back then, would you have stayed with him? Zoraide pulled over, putting the car in park so she could turn and look at her sons properly. That is a complicated question, baby. But here's what I know. Everything I went through, every hard choice, every struggle, it gave me you two exactly as you are. And I would not change that for anything. Not even for an easier path. That is not really an answer. Maceo observed. No. She smiled sadly. It is not. Because the truth is I do not know. I loved your father very much. But love is not always enough. People have to be ready. They have to choose each other every day, not just in the easy moments. Keziah absorbed this. Do you think he is ready now? I think he wants to be. Whether he actually is, time will tell. She reached back and squeezed both their hands. But you do not have to worry about me and him. You just worry about figuring out your relationship with your father and with Sterling. The rest is adult stuff. They drove the rest of the way home, music filling the silence. But Zoraide's mind was racing. Caspian's words kept echoing. I want you to let me prove I am not the same man who let you walk away. The problem was, she was not sure she could survive being wrong about him twice. Are you still here? Share this video with someone who loves a good, complicated love story. And if you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button. Dinner with Sterling happened on a Friday night. Zoraide spent the day cooking, her kitchen filling with the scent of jerk chicken, rice and peas, fried plantains. Comfort food, soul food. The food of her childhood and her heritage. Caspian had offered to have the dinner catered by some Michelin-starred restaurant. She had politely told him where he could put that idea. If Sterling was going to know his brothers, he was going to know their life. Their real life. Not some polished version designed to impress. The doorbell rang at 6. Zoraide opened it to find Caspian and Sterling, the boy holding a bottle of sparkling cider and looking nervous. My mom said never show up empty-handed. Sterling offered the bottle. Your mom raised you right. Zoraide smiled warmly, stepping aside to let them in. Come in. Dinner is almost ready. Sterling looked around the brownstone with open curiosity. The exposed brick walls covered in art. The vintage furniture mixed with modern pieces. The bookshelves crammed with architecture texts and novels. The twins' robotics projects scattered across the coffee table. This place is cool, he said. It is so different from our apartment. Different how? Keziah appeared from the kitchen. Sterling considered. It feels like people actually live here. Like it is not trying to be perfect. It is just real. That is the nicest compliment this house has ever gotten. Zoraide laughed. Thank you. Caspian stood in the doorway, taking in the space. Zoraide could see him cataloging details. The framed photo of her and the twins at their elementary school graduation. The architectural renderings pinned to the walls. The vintage record player. This is beautiful, Zoraide. You built this? We built it. She gestured to the twins. It has been a family project. Every room has a story. The boys dragged Sterling upstairs to show him their room, while Zoraide finished plating the food. Caspian lingered in the kitchen doorway. Can I help? You can set the table. Dishes are in that cabinet. They moved around each other in the small kitchen with awkward politeness. Then Caspian spoke. I have been thinking about what you said, about showing you with actions. She did not look up from the chicken she was slicing. And I want to set up a trust for the boys. For college. For whatever they need. No. Her response was immediate. Absolutely not. Zoraide. They are my sons. I have resources I can provide. They have what they need. She finally met his eyes. I do not want your money, Caspian. I do not want you to buy your way into their lives or their affection. This is not about buying anything. It is about responsibility. You have been raising them alone for 12 years. Let me help. You want to help? She set down the knife. Show up for the boring stuff. The parent-teacher conferences. The days when they are sick and miserable. That is what they need. Not a trust fund. I can do both. Not yet. Her voice was firm. First you prove you are consistent. Then we talk about the rest. I am trying to do the right thing here. I know. She softened slightly. But the right thing is not always the biggest gesture. Sometimes it is just the steady ones. Before he could respond, the boys thundered back downstairs, Sterling in tow. The three of them were debating the merits of different programming languages with the intensity of scholars discussing philosophy. They sat down to dinner. Sterling tried everything, complimenting each dish with genuine enthusiasm. This is incredible, Ms. Vance. Thank you, Sterling. And you can call me Zoraide if you are comfortable with that. He nodded seriously. My mom says food is how people share their culture. What culture is this? This is Jamaican. My parents immigrated to Brooklyn before I was born. I grew up with these flavors. Keziah jumped in. Mom makes the best oxtail, but she says that is for special occasions. Maybe next time. Zoraide smiled. If you are interested, I could teach you all how to cook some of this. The boys exchanged excited looks. Sterling leaned forward. I would really like that. I mostly know how to make pasta and grilled cheese. Those are important skills too. She laughed. But yes, cooking lessons soon. The conversation flowed around the table. The boys talked about school. Sterling mentioned his mother was a fashion designer. Maceo asked questions about what that was like. The twins talked about Zoraide's architecture work, how she had let them help design their own room. Caspian was quieter than Zoraide expected. He watched more than he spoke. At one point, she caught him staring at the twins with an expression of such raw grief that she had to look away. After dinner, the boys disappeared into the living room to watch a movie. Zoraide started clearing plates. Caspian helped without asking. They worked in silence until the kitchen was clean. Then he spoke. They are incredible. They are. She dried her hands on a towel. You did an amazing job. We are not friends, Caspian. She turned to face him. You do not get to compliment me like that is going to fix things. I am not trying to fix things with compliments. He stepped closer. I am trying to tell you the truth. The truth is you missed 12 years. She held her ground. The truth is I did this alone. The truth is you do not get to feel good about how they turned out when you contributed nothing. You are right. His agreement surprised her. I contributed nothing. I missed everything. And I hate myself for it. But I am here now. And I am asking what it will take for you to believe I am not going anywhere. Time. She said simply. Consistency, proof. Not words, actions. How much time? As much as it takes. They stood in her small kitchen, the sound of the boys laughing in the next room, and something shifted. Some infinitesimal movement toward a future neither of them could predict. The movie ended. Caspian and Sterling prepared to leave. At the door, Sterling hugged both twins goodbye with an ease that spoke to how quickly children can adapt. Then he surprised Zoraide by hugging her too. Thank you for dinner. And for, you know, my brothers. You are welcome anytime. She meant it. After they left, Maceo looked at her thoughtfully. He is trying really hard. Who, Sterling? No, our dad. Zoraide pulled both boys close. Yes, he is. Do you think he will keep trying? Keziah's question held the vulnerability of a child who had been disappointed before. I think he will. She chose her words carefully. But if he does not, that is his loss. Not yours. You are enough exactly as you are. The following weeks developed a rhythm. Caspian started showing up. Not with grand gestures, but with presence. He came to Maceo's mathlete competition. He attended Keziah's robotics showcase. He took all three boys to a Vaintech open house and let them explore the labs. He was awkward sometimes. He did not always know the right things to say, but he was there. And slowly, carefully, the twins began to trust him. Zoraide watched from the sidelines, her heart a complicated tangle of protection and something that felt dangerously like hope. One evening, Caspian asked if he could take the boys for a weekend. Sterling wanted to show them his favorite museum, and there was a tech expo happening. Zoraide's first instinct was to say no, to keep them close, to maintain control. But she saw the excitement in Keziah and Maceo's faces. The way they were starting to look at Caspian, not with suspicion, but with cautious affection. Okay, she agreed. But you call me every night. And if they want to come home early, you bring them immediately. I promise, Caspian said. And Zoraide, thank you for trusting me with them. Do not make me regret it. That weekend, Zoraide found herself alone in the brownstone for the first time in 12 years. The silence was unsettling. She tried to work on her architectural plans, but could not focus. She tried to read, but the words blurred. Finally, she called her best friend, Thea, who arrived with wine and sympathy. You are spiraling, Thea observed, pouring them both a glass. I can see it from space. I am not spiraling. I am processing. You are terrified that man is going to break your heart again. And worse, that he might break those boys' hearts. Zoraide took a long sip of wine. When did you get so perceptive? I have known you for 15 years. I know your patterns. Thea settled onto the couch. So talk to me. What is really going on? He is being everything I needed him to be 12 years ago, she admitted. And I do not know what to do with that. Do you still love him? I never stopped. The words came out before she could stop them. And that is the problem. I built this whole life convincing myself I was over him, that I was fine alone. And now he is back and I am realizing I was just surviving, not actually healing. So heal now. Thea said simply. Let yourself feel it. The anger, the hurt, the love. All of it. What if I let him in and he leaves again? What if you do not and you miss a chance at something real? Thea countered. You cannot protect yourself from every possible pain, Zora. Sometimes you have to risk it. The boys called that night, their voices bright with excitement. They had seen incredible technology demonstrations. Sterling had introduced them to his favorite vintage arcade. Caspian had let them order whatever they wanted for dinner. We are having the best time, Mom, Maceo said. But we miss you. I miss you too, baby. She smiled despite the tears in her eyes. Have fun. I will see you tomorrow night. After she hung up, she sat in the quiet brownstone and let herself imagine. What if Caspian really had changed? What if he could be the partner she had needed? What if they could build something new from the ruins of what had broken? The thought terrified her. But for the first time, it also felt possible. The next evening, Caspian brought the boys home. They tumbled through the door, full of stories and laughter. After they had gone upstairs to unpack, Caspian lingered. They are wonderful, he said. Being with them this weekend, I kept thinking about everything I missed. All the moments I can never get back. You cannot live in the past, Zoraide said gently. You can only move forward. I know. He looked at her with an intensity that made her breath catch. That is why I need to say something. I am listening. These past few weeks, being part of their lives, being around you again, it has made me realize something. I never moved on, Zoraide. I built an empire. I got married. I had a son. And none of it filled the hole you left. Caspian. She started, but he held up a hand. Let me finish. I know I do not deserve another chance. I know I hurt you in ways that do not have easy forgiveness. But I am asking anyway. Not for the boys. For us. I want to try again. I want to see if we can build something real this time. Her heart was pounding. Every self-protective instinct screamed at her to say no. To keep the walls up, to stay safe. But she looked at this man who had broken her and put himself back together. Who was showing up for their sons with steady consistency. Who looked at her like she was still the most important person in his world. I am terrified, she whispered. Of you, of this. Of believing and being wrong. I am terrified too. He stepped closer. But I am more terrified of not trying. Of losing you twice. So here's what I am asking. Have dinner with me. Just the two of us. Let me show you I am not the same man who let you go. One dinner. No promises beyond that. She thought about Thea's words. About risking pain for the chance at something real. About modeling for her sons what it meant to be brave. One dinner. She agreed. But Caspian, I need you to understand. I am not the same woman you left either. I am stronger. I am more guarded. And I will not settle for anything less than what I deserve. I would not want you to. He smiled, and it transformed his face into something closer to the boy she had fallen in love with. You deserve everything. Their dinner was scheduled for Friday night. Zoraide changed outfits 4 times before settling on a deep emerald dress that made her skin glow. She told herself this was not a big deal. Just dinner. Just conversation. Just a chance to see if the man Caspian had become could coexist with the memory of who he had been. but her hands shook as she applied lipstick. The restaurant Caspian chose was intimate and elegant without being ostentatious. Low lighting, live jazz, the kind of place designed for conversation rather than spectacle. He was already seated when she arrived, standing immediately as she approached. "You look breathtaking." He pulled out her chair. "You look nervous." She sat, smoothing her dress. "I am." He settled across from her. "I have negotiated billion-dollar deals with less anxiety than I feel right now. That makes two of us." She accepted the menu from a waiter, but did not open it. "So how do we do this? Do we pretend the past did not happen? Do we dissect it? Do we just talk about the weather? We be honest." Caspian set down his own menu. "We say the things we did not get to say 12 years ago." She took a breath. "Okay, honesty. Why did you really panic when I told you I was pregnant? Was it just the company? Or was it me?" "It was never you." His response was immediate. "Zoraide, you were the best thing that had ever happened to me. You were brilliant and creative, and you saw me as more than just my ambitions. That terrified me." "Why would that terrify you?" "Because I knew I did not deserve you." He leaned forward. "I came from money, but it was the kind of money that came with expectations. My father built Vane Tech from nothing and then lost it all in a bad merger. He died when I was 23, broken and bitter. I rebuilt the company because I needed to prove he had not failed, that I had not come from failure." She had not known that. In their summer together, Caspian had talked about his work with passion but had rarely mentioned his family. "So when I told you I was pregnant, you saw it as another way to fail." "I saw it as a choice between saving my father's legacy and being the kind of father I never had." He rubbed his face. "I thought I had to choose. I thought I could not do both. So you chose the legacy. I chose fear." He corrected. "And I have regretted it every day since." The waiter approached. They ordered without looking at the menus, both too focused on the conversation. After he left, Zoraide spoke. "When you told me you were not ready, I felt like I was not enough. Like if I had been more important, more valuable, you would have chosen differently. That is on me." She met his eyes. "I made your fear about my worth. And I spent 12 years proving to myself that I did not need anyone to validate me." "Did you prove it?" "I thought I had," she admitted. "But then you came back and I realized I was still that girl waiting for you to choose her. Except now I have more to lose. The boys." "Exactly." Her voice dropped. "If this does not work, it is not just my heart that breaks. It is theirs. They are already attached to you, already hoping. If you disappoint them, I do not know if I can forgive that. Then I will not disappoint them. Or you." She wanted to believe him, but belief required a leap she was not sure she could make. Their food arrived. They ate slowly, the conversation shifting to lighter topics. He asked about her restoration work. She asked about the new sustainable energy project Vane Tech was developing. They talked about the boys, comparing notes on Kazuya's dry humor and Maceo's quiet intensity. It felt almost normal, almost like two people getting to know each other. Except beneath every word was the weight of history. Over dessert, Caspian reached across the table and took her hand. "I know you do not trust me yet. I know I have to earn that. But I need you to know something. When you left 12 years ago, I did not chase you. That is the biggest regret of my life. Not that you left, that I let you. Why are you telling me this? Because if you walk away again, I will chase you this time." He held her gaze. "I will show up every day. I will prove I have changed. I will fight for you and for them until you believe me, or until you tell me definitively there is no chance. And even then, I will still be the best father I can be." That is a pretty speech. She pulled her hand back gently. "But I need more than words." "I know. So let me give you actions. Starting now." He paid the check despite her protest and walked her to her car. At the door, he did not try to kiss her. He simply said, "Thank you for tonight. For the chance." She drove home with her heart racing and her mind spinning. The brownstone was quiet when she entered. The twins were asleep. Mrs. Tina had already left. Zoraide sat in her studio surrounded by blueprints and let herself feel everything she had been holding back. The hope, the fear, and the dangerous possibility that maybe, just maybe, people really could change. The next morning, she woke to a text from Caspian. "Thank you again for last night. I meant everything I said. No pressure for another dinner. I just want you to know I am here." She stared at the message for a long time before responding. "One step at a time." His reply was immediate. "One step at a time. I can do that." Over the following weeks, Caspian was true to his word. He did not push. He did not demand. He simply showed up. He took the boys to their weekend activities. He learned their schedules. He asked Zoraide about her projects and actually listened to the answers. He brought coffee to her studio when he picked up the twins. Always her exact order, never staying longer than she indicated was welcome. Now, if you are enjoying this story, leave a comment and let me know what you think is going to happen next. Do Zoraide and Caspian have a real shot? Slowly, almost imperceptibly, Zoraide felt her walls beginning to crack. She started looking forward to his texts, started lingering in conversations longer than necessary, started imagining what it might look like to let him fully back in. Then Simone entered the picture. Caspian's ex-wife called Zoraide on a Tuesday afternoon. Her voice was polished and professional. "Ms. Vance, this is Simone Laurent. I believe we should meet." Zoraide's guard went up immediately. "Why?" "Because our children are now siblings. Because my son is spending time in your home. And because I think we should have a conversation woman to woman." Despite her reservations, Zoraide agreed. They met at a cafe in Manhattan, neutral territory. Simone was stunning, elegant in the way that came from old money and good breeding. She ordered tea and studied Zoraide with sharp, assessing eyes. "You are not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "Someone less put together." Simone's honesty was startling. "Caspian has a type. Brilliant, beautiful, strong. You fit it. But there is something else. An edge he always responded to. This is not a competition." Zoraide kept her voice level. "I am aware." Simone stirred her tea. "I am not here to fight with you. I am here to give you information you deserve. I am listening. Caspian married me 3 years after you left. He was a good husband in many ways. Attentive, generous, faithful. But he was never fully present. It took me 2 years to realize he was in love with someone else. Someone who was not there. That must have been difficult. It was clarifying." Simone met her eyes. "I am not angry about it anymore. We have a good co-parenting relationship. Sterling is happy. But I am telling you this because you should know what you are getting into. That man has been haunted by you for over a decade." "Which means what exactly?" "Which means if you are not serious about him, let him go now. For his sake and for those boys. But if you are considering giving him a real chance, know that he will love you with everything he has. It is who he is when he finally lets himself be vulnerable." "Why are you telling me this?" Zoraide asked. "Because I want Sterling to have a stable family structure. Because I think those twins deserve a father who is emotionally present. And because despite everything, I do care about Caspian's happiness." The conversation left Zoraide unsettled. She went home and looked at herself honestly in the mirror. What did she want? Not what was safe. Not what was easy. What did she actually want? She wanted the family she had glimpsed. The one where her sons had a father and siblings. Where Sunday dinners included laughter and chaos. Where she was not carrying everything alone. And she wanted Caspian. Not the boy he had been. The man he had become. That realization terrified and exhilarated her in equal measure. She called Thea. "I think I am going to do something really stupid or really brave. What is the difference?" Thea laughed. "How come? Tell me. I think I am falling for him again. Or maybe I never stopped falling. I think I want to try. Really try. Then try. What is stopping you?" "Fear," Zoraide admitted. "What if it does not work? What if we are better as a memory than a reality? What if we hurt the boys trying to force something that was never meant to be? Those are all valid fears." Thea's voice was gentle. "But they are not reasons to not try. They are just reasons to be intentional, careful, honest. So be all those things. But do not let fear steal a chance at happiness." That night, Zoraide asked Caspian to come over after the boys went to bed. He arrived at 9, concern etched on his face. "Is everything okay? Sit down." She gestured to the couch. "We need to talk." Those are terrifying words. He sat. "I met with Simone." His expression shifted. "She reached out to you." "Yes. And she told me some things that I have been thinking about." Zoraide sat across from him. "She told me you never fully moved on. That you were in love with a ghost. I am not going to apologize for not being able to forget you. I do not want an apology." She leaned forward. "I want to know if this is real. What we are doing. Is it real or is it nostalgia? Is it love or is it guilt?" "It is real." Caspian's voice was fierce. "Zoraide, what I feel for you is not about the past. It is about right now. It is about the woman you are. The mother you have been. The way you challenge me and see through every defense I put up. It is about wanting to build something new with you. Not recreate what we had." She felt tears prick her eyes. "I am scared. I know, so am I." He moved to sit beside her. "But I am more sure of this than I have been of anything. Tell me what you need. What will make you feel safe enough to try?" "Time," she said. "And honesty. No more secrets. No more hiding behind fear or pride. If we do this, we do it all the way." "Agreed. What else?" "I need you to understand that the boys come first. Always. If this does not work between us, You do not get to disappear from their lives. You stay their father regardless. I will stay. He took her hand. No matter what happens between us, I am their father. That does not change. She looked at their joined hands. His lighter than hers. Familiar and foreign at once. Okay. Okay. As in okay, you will try? She met his eyes. Okay, I will try. We will try. The kiss was inevitable. Soft at first. Tentative. Then deeper as 12 years of longing and loss poured into it. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. Caspian rested his forehead against hers. I am going to do this right. I am going to love you the way I should have from the beginning. You better, she whispered, because I am not that girl anymore. I will not wait around hoping. I know, and I love who you have become. Strong and fierce and absolutely terrifying. She laughed through her tears. Good. You should be a little scared of me. Terrified. He kissed her again. Absolutely terrified. They sat on her couch talking until 2 in the morning. About everything. About their hopes for the boys, about their fears, about what a relationship between them might actually look like. We take it slow, Zoraide said. The boys do not know we are trying this until we are sure. I do not want them getting their hopes up just to have them crushed. Makes sense. When do you think we tell them? When we are both sure this is permanent. She was firm. I am not introducing instability into their lives. The next few months were a study in patience. Caspian and Zoraide navigated their relationship in the spaces between parenting. Stolen dinners after the boys were asleep. Text messages throughout the day. Quiet moments in her studio while he worked on his laptop and she sketched designs. It was different from their first relationship. More grounded, less desperate. They were building something with intention rather than just falling. But keeping it secret from 3 brilliant boys proved challenging. One evening, Maceo looked up from his homework. Mom, why is Dad here so much? He is helping with a project. She said vaguely. What project? Your relationship. Keziah did not look up from his book. We are not stupid. We can see the way you look at each other. Zoraide's heart stopped. What are you talking about? Sterling told us. Maceo explained. He said his mom said you and Dad are dating. Are you? She sat down heavily. We were trying to keep it quiet until we were sure. Why? Keziah finally looked up. If you like each other, why hide it? Because I did not want you to hope for something that might not work out. She was honest. I did not want you to get attached to the idea of us as a family just to have it fall apart. But we are a family. Maceo said simply. Maybe not a normal one. But we are. You and me and Keziah. Now Dad and Sterling too. Whether you and Dad are together does not change that. When did you get so wise? She pulled him into a hug. So you are okay with this? With me and your father trying to make a relationship work? Keziah shrugged. We like him. He is trying really hard. And you have been happier lately. We notice. We want you to be happy, Mom. The tears came then. Full and unstoppable. Her sons held her while she cried. Cried for the years alone. For the fear she had carried. For the relief of not having to hide anymore. When Caspian arrived later that evening, the boys confronted him too. Are you going to hurt our mom? Maceo's question was direct. I am going to try my best not to. Caspian knelt to their level. But I am human. I will make mistakes. What I can promise is I will never lie to you. I will never walk away from you or your mother. And I will love all of you with everything I have. That is acceptable. Keziah said seriously. But we are watching you. I would expect nothing less. The revelation shifted something. With the secret out, Caspian and Zoraide could be more open. He started staying for family dinners regularly. She attended Tech events as his partner. The boys, all 3 of them now, adjusted with the remarkable resilience of children. But not everything was smooth. There were moments of tension, times when old fears resurfaced. An argument erupted one evening over a business trip Caspian had planned without consulting Zoraide. It overlapped with Keziah's science fair. You are choosing work over him, she accused. Exactly like you did 12 years ago. That is not fair. I did not know the date conflicted. You did not ask. She shot back. You just assumed you could go and it would be fine. I will cancel the trip. Then your colleagues will resent the disruption. And the boys will know they are an obligation. She was working herself up. This is exactly what I was afraid of. That you would slide back into old patterns. Zoraide, stop. His voice was firm. I made a mistake. I am fixing it. I will reschedule the trip and I will be at that science fair. This does not mean I am the same person I was. One scheduling conflict does not erase months of showing up. She knew he was right, but the fear was overwhelming. What if this is the beginning? What if it gets easier to choose work? To put a second? Then you call me on it. Like you are doing now. He stepped closer. That is what partnership is. We hold each other accountable. I am not going to be perfect, but I am going to be present. And when I mess up, I am going to fix it. The fight diffused slowly. He canceled the trip. He was at the science fair. Keziah won second place, and Caspian's pride was genuine and loud. But the argument had shaken Zoraide. That night, she confessed her fears to him. I do not know if I can do this. Every time something goes wrong, I panic. I am waiting for you to leave. I am not leaving. How many times do I have to prove that? Until I believe it. She whispered, and I do not know how long that will take. Then I will keep proving it. He pulled her close. For as long as it takes. 6 months into their relationship, Caspian asked her to move in with him. The penthouse has plenty of space. The boys could each have their own room. Sterling is there half the time anyway. It would make logistics easier. No. Her answer was immediate. Why not? Because this is our home. She gestured around the brownstone. This is what I built for my sons. I am not giving it up to move into your space. Then I will move here. This place is too small for 5 people. It has 3 bedrooms. Not enough. So we find something new. He said simply. Something that is ours. Not mine or yours. Ours. The idea caught her off guard. You would leave the penthouse. In a heartbeat. It has never felt like home anyway. It is just expensive real estate. Home is where you are. Where the boys are. They started looking at properties. Zoraide approached it like the architect she was, analyzing flow and light and structure. Caspian approached it with unlimited budget and a desire to give her everything. They argued over square footage and neighborhoods, and whether a home theater was excessive or essential. Finally, they found it. A restored warehouse in Brooklyn, converted into a massive loft. Exposed brick and soaring ceilings. Enough space for everyone to have privacy, but open enough to feel connected. A rooftop garden. A studio space for Zoraide. Room for the boys to build their robotics projects. This is it. She breathed, walking through the empty space. This is home. Are you sure? Caspian watched her face. Because we can keep looking. I am sure. She turned to him. But I want to buy it together. 50-50. Zoraide, I have significantly more resources. I do not care. She was firm. If this is ours, it is truly ours. Equal investment. Equal ownership. He smiled. You are the most stubborn woman I have ever met. Is that a yes? It is a yes. They bought the loft. Spent 3 months renovating it to exactly what they wanted. The boys helped pick out furniture and paint colors. Sterling claimed the room with the best light. The twins chose the space nearest each other. Zoraide designed her studio with meticulous care. Moving day was chaos. Boxes everywhere. The boys arguing over where things should go. But underneath the chaos was joy. The feeling of building something together. That night, after everything was unpacked and the boys were asleep, Caspian found Zoraide on the rooftop. She was looking out at the Brooklyn skyline, a glass of wine in her hand. He joined her, sliding an arm around her waist. What are you thinking about? How different everything is from a year ago. She leaned into him. How scared I was. How much has changed? Do you regret it? Giving me another chance? No. She turned to face him. I am still scared sometimes. I still have moments where I panic. But no, I do not regret it. Good. Because I have something for you. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Zoraide's breath caught. Caspian, if that is what I think it is. It is. He opened the box to reveal a ring. Not ostentatious. A simple band with a single emerald the color of her dress from their first dinner. But before you panic, let me say this. I am not asking you to marry me. Not yet. What are you doing then? I am asking you to think about it. To know that I am serious about forever. That this is not a trial run for me. You are it, Zoraide. You and those boys. That is my family. That is my future. She looked at the ring, tears blurring her vision. So I am supposed to just hold on to this ring and think about maybe someday, where you could wear it. As a promise. Not an engagement. Just a symbol that we are building towards something permanent. She thought about the girl she had been 12 years ago, desperate for this man to choose her. She thought about the woman she had become, strong enough to demand what she deserved. And she thought about the future spreading out before them, complicated and beautiful in theirs. Okay. She held out her hand. Okay. He looked stunned, as if he had not expected her to agree. I will wear your promise ring. But Caspian, when you actually propose, it better be more romantic than this. Noted. He slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. How did you know my size? I asked Keziah. He stole one of your other rings for me. She laughed. You co-conspired with my son. Our son. He corrected gently. And yes, I needed inside intelligence. They stood on the rooftop of their home, the city breathing around them. and kissed with the tenderness of people who had found their way back to each other against all odds. The actual proposal came 6 months later. Caspian orchestrated it with the help of all 3 boys. They told Zoraide they were taking her to a new restaurant. Instead, they brought her back to the park where she and Caspian had first introduced him to the twins. The space had been transformed. Lights strung through the trees. Photos of their journey displayed on easels. Their families gathered. Her parents who had flown in from Florida. Simone was even there, smiling genuinely. And in the center of it all, Caspian waited with the boys beside him. What is this? Zoraide looked around in wonder. This is me doing it right. Caspian took her hand. 12 years ago, I let fear make my decisions. I let the best thing in my life walk away. I do not get those years back. But I get now. I get tomorrow. I get the chance to build a future with you. He knelt down. The boys moved to stand behind him, each holding a sign. Keziah's read Mary. Maceo's read our. Sterling's read Dad. Zoraide Vance, you are the most extraordinary woman I have ever known. You built a life and raised our sons, and became someone I admire more than I can express. You gave me a second chance I did not deserve. You let me prove I could change. And now I am asking you to let me spend the rest of my life proving I will never stop choosing you. Will you marry me? She was crying too hard to speak. The boys were grinning. Her parents were clutching each other. Simone was wiping her eyes. Finally, she managed to nod. Yes. Yes, you infuriating, wonderful man. Yes. The ring he produced was different from the promise ring. This one was vintage, Art Deco. The kind of piece that had history and story. He must have searched for months to find it. It is perfect. She breathed as he slid it on. You are perfect. He stood, pulling her into a kiss. The gathered crowd erupted in cheers. The boys rushed forward, wrapping around both of them in a chaotic group hug. When did you plan all this? She asked, looking around. We have been plotting for weeks. Keziah admitted. It was so hard to keep the secret. Sterling was the mastermind. Maceo added. He created a whole spreadsheet. Of course he did. Caspian laughed. The celebration moved to a nearby restaurant Caspian had rented out. Zoraide found herself surrounded by love. Her parents told embarrassing stories. Thea gave a toast about stubborn women and the men smart enough to fight for them. Simone approached her during a quiet moment. I am happy for you. Genuinely. Thank you. Zoraide meant it. And thank you for coming. This could not have been easy. Sterling wanted to be here, and I wanted to support that. Simone smiled. Besides, I like seeing Caspian happy. He is a better co-parent when he is fulfilled. You have done an amazing job with Sterling. Zoraide said. He is an incredible kid. So are your boys. Simone raised her glass. To blended families and second chances. To blended families. Zoraide echoed. Later, as the party wound down, Caspian pulled her aside. Happy. Deliriously. She rested her head on his shoulder. Overwhelmed, but happy. Good overwhelmed. The best kind. They married 4 months later in a ceremony that balanced elegance with intimacy. Zoraide wore a dress she designed herself. Caspian cried when she walked down the aisle. The boys were groomsmen, standing proud in matching suits. Keziah and Maceo walked her down the aisle together, one on each side. When the officiant asked who gave this woman, they answered in unison. We do. But only because he finally proved he deserves her. The gathered guests laughed. Caspian grinned. I will spend my life continuing to prove it. The vows they wrote were honest and raw. Caspian promised to show up, to choose her daily, to be the father and husband his family deserved. Zoraide promised to trust, to let him in, to build a future rather than guard against the past. When they kissed, the boys cheered louder than anyone. The reception was a celebration of family in all its complicated beauty. Zoraide's parents danced with Caspian's mother. The boys DJ'd part of the evening, playing a mix that ranged from jazz to hip-hop. Simone caught the bouquet and laughed in surprise. During their first dance, Caspian pulled Zoraide close. What are you thinking? That life is strange. She looked up at him. A year and a half ago, I would have said we had no chance. That too much had broken. Strange good or strange bad. Strange perfect. She kissed him softly. We are exactly where we are supposed to be. The honeymoon was a family affair. All 5 of them went to Jamaica, to the island of Zoraide's heritage. She showed the boys where her parents had grown up. They explored beaches and rainforests, ate jerk chicken from roadside stands, learned patois phrases from Zoraide's extended family. One afternoon, while the boys were swimming, Caspian and Zoraide sat on the beach watching them. Sterling was teaching the twins to body surf. Their laughter carried across the water. This is what I imagined. Caspian said quietly. What? Family, joy, belonging. He turned to her. You gave me this. We gave each other this. She corrected. You showed up. You changed. But I had to let you. We both had to be brave. I love you. The words still felt new and precious. I love you too. She leaned against him. Even when you are annoying. Especially when I am annoying. That night, they had dinner with Zoraid's cousins. The boys were welcomed with the overwhelming warmth of Jamaican family. Fed until they could not move. Taught dominoes and asked 1,000 questions about their lives in New York. Watching her sons connect with her culture, with roots they had not known, Zoraid felt a fullness she had not known was missing. Later, tucking the twins into bed, Maceo asked a question. Mom, are you happy? Happier than I have ever been. Why? Do I not seem happy? You seem different. Keziah observed. Lighter. Like you are not carrying something heavy anymore. She kissed both their foreheads. I was carrying a lot of fear for a long time. Fear that I was not enough. Fear that you were not safe. Fear that trusting people would end in pain. And now? Now I am learning to trust. In your father. In this family we are building. In the future. The boys considered this. Then Keziah spoke. We are proud of you. For what? For being brave. He said simply. We know it is scary. But you did it anyway. She held them close, her heart overflowing. When did you two become so wise? We learned from the best. Maceo mumbled into her shoulder. Back in Brooklyn, life developed a new rhythm. Caspian adjusted his work schedule to be present for family dinners. Zoraid took on projects that challenged her creatively. The boys thrived with the stability of two parents and the chaos of siblinghood. Sunday dinners became sacred. All 5 of them cooking together, arguing over recipes, setting the huge table in their loft. Sometimes Simone would join them. Sometimes Zoraid's parents would visit. Sometimes it was just the 5 of them. But always, there was love. One evening, almost 2 years after Caspian had walked back into their lives, Zoraid was working late in her studio. Caspian brought her tea and sat watching her sketch. What? She glanced up, catching his stare. Just thinking about how close I came to missing this. All of it. But you did not. She set down her pencil. You chose differently this time. We chose differently. He corrected. You chose to trust again. That is just as brave as me showing up. She moved to sit beside him on the couch. Do you ever think about how different things would be if I had not left? If you had been ready back then? Sometimes. But then I realized we might not have made it. We were not who we needed to be. Maybe we needed the break to become people who could build something lasting. She rested her head on his shoulder. That is a very optimistic interpretation of 12 years of pain. Or it is the truth. Sometimes things have to break completely before they can be rebuilt stronger. She thought about her work restoring old buildings. How sometimes the only way to save a structure was to strip it down to the foundation and build back up. Maybe that is what they had done. Stripped away the fairy tale. Faced the foundation. Built something real. I would not change it. She said finally. Even the hard parts. Because it gave me the boys. It gave me strength. And eventually, it gave me you back. I love you, Zoraid Vance. Even though it is Zoraid Vane now. She smiled. Hyphenated. Vance Vane. I was not giving up my name completely. I would expect nothing less. He kissed her temple. You are exactly who you were supposed to be. They sat in comfortable silence, the sounds of the boys laughing in the other room, the city humming beyond their windows. A family built from broken pieces and second chances. Perfect in its imperfection. Whole in its honesty. Keziah appeared in the doorway. Are you two being gross and romantic again? Extremely. Caspian confirmed. We are disgustingly in love. Maceo joined his brother. Sterling says his mom says you are relationship goals. Tell Simone thank you. Zoraid laughed. Are you 3 eavesdropping? Always. Sterling appeared behind them. It is kind of our job as kids. To make sure the adults do not mess things up. Well, Caspian stood, pulling Zoraid up with him. How are we doing? You are acceptable, Keziah declared. But we will keep monitoring the situation. The boys scattered back to whatever they had been doing. Caspian and Zoraid stood in her studio, hands linked, and looked at the life they had built. It was not the life they had imagined at 25. It was better, more complicated, more real, earned rather than stumbled into. Do you think we will make it? She asked. For the long haul? We already have. He squeezed her hand. Everything else is just staying committed to the choice we have made. Choose each other. Choose this family. Every single day, I choose you. She said. Every day, I choose this, I choose us. Good. He pulled her close. Because you are stuck with me now. There is no escape. I do not want to escape. She kissed him. I want exactly this. The boys, the chaos, the laughter, you. Then that is what we will build. He promised. Every day, for the rest of our lives. And that was exactly what they did. Years later, when people asked Zoraide about her love story, she would tell them the truth. It was not a fairy tale. It was not love conquering all. It was two broken people who did the hard work of healing, who chose honesty over comfort, who built trust brick by brick, who learned that second chances were not about erasing the past, but about creating a better future. She would tell them about the summers filled with 3 boys who looked like mirrors, about Sunday dinners that always ran too long and too loud, about a man who had been too scared to be a father learning to be exactly what his sons needed, about a woman who had built walls learning to build bridges instead. And she would tell them that the best love stories were not about perfect people. They were about real people choosing each other, again and again, through fear and doubt, and all the messy, complicated, beautiful moments in between. That was the story of Zoraide and Caspian Vein. Not a romance, a rebuilding. And it was perfect. If you made it to the end of this story, you are amazing. Drop a like, share this with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe for more stories that will make you feel everything. See you in the next story.